What is going on, everybody? I'm back again today. This time I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a paper server in Minecraft. So what paper is it's a fork of Spigot. If you guys don't know what Spigot is, it's basically like a modded Minecraft jar. That's how we're gonna say it. It's a modded Minecraft jar that allows you to put plugins on your server, and it also gives you another file which you can tweak settings and stuff in. But paper is a fork of that, which gets more readily updated. It also patches like more bugs and fixes stuff quicker because it's more readily updated, and it's better for performance. And yeah, just overall, anything that really works on Spigot should work on paper, plugin wise. So yeah, they're almost interchangeable. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to create a paper server. So the first thing that we need to do, just like any other Minecraft server, is let's just set up our folder where we're going to put everything right now. So this is going to be our paper server. We're just going to name it that. And then what we have to do is go and source our paper jar. So to do that, we'd go to the papermc website. I'll put a link to this in the description. You go to downloads, and on here it says this is all the builds. So the newest one is number 46 for 1.17. We're still currently in a test build. Eventually this won't be a test build anymore, but just use with caution. And then click download. And yep, Chrome's gonna do this thing it always does, where it says this type of file could harm your computer. Do you want to keep it anyway? We're gonna click keep. The reason why it says this is because you're downloading a jar file. Chrome doesn't know what's in that jar file, so it's basically telling you, hey, these types of files can be dangerous. We don't know if this one is or not, so make sure you're getting it from a reputable source. We know it's coming from papermc, and we trust papermc. So we're going to click keep, and that's our jar file. Perfect. So we're going to drag that into our paper server here. And as you guys see, I don't have Java installed on this VM yet, okay, or this computer. So this jar file is not associated with anything. So we need to make sure that we have Java 16 installed. Now, I see so many people on my last Minecraft tutorial getting errors. It's like a JNI error, or it's telling you that you have an outdated class or something. The reason that it's saying that is because you need to update to Java 16. It's not an LTS version, so you're going to have to go and manually download it from the Java website or a third party. And yeah, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So just go to Google, and we're going to Google up Java 16 SDK. And it should be the first link here on the Oracle website. It's going to bring you to a web page that looks like this. Don't worry, I'll also link this in the description as well. And we want to scroll down until we find the Windows x64 installer right here. So we're going to click on that. We're going to check this box because we have to check that to download it, and then click download. And it's going to give us an exe file. And now that that's finished downloading, we're going to run this exe file. We can minimize Chrome because we don't need that anymore right now. It's going to ask us, do you want to allow it to make changes? Click yes. We want to, because we want to install Java. And it's just going to go through its thing. So go through the installation wizard. We're just going to leave the defaults. And once it's done, we're going to check our Java version via the command prompt. Alright, so it says Java SE Development Kit 16 was successfully installed. We don't need the next steps. We're going to click close. So now, just to make sure that that did install correctly, we're going to come into our command prompt here, and we're going to type Java tac version. And look at that, Java version 16. That's all you need to run Minecraft 1.17. You have to have 16. It does not work on 8 or 9. So, yep, we're good there. Now we get to write our batch file. So we're going to create a new text document. Okay, and we're going to call it start. Now, this is huge because this is a text document, but it does not have a .txt at the end of it. The reason for that is because right now, by default, I'm sure most of your guys' computers are like this, it's not going to show file extensions. That's going to screw everything up when we try to change this name to a .bat. So in order to show that .txt at the end, you need to click View, Options right here, change folder and search options, and then at the View tab right here at the top, click that and scroll down, and see where it says hide extensions for known file types, and that box is checked. We want to make sure we uncheck that, and then click apply and OK. And now you can see that our .txt appears. And when we want to rename our file, it shows up, and we can change that txt to a bat. And it tells me if I change the file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes, we are. And now we get to edit our batch file. And you guys can write in it before or after you change it. It doesn't matter. Just right-click Edit to edit the batch file. Because if you try to double-click and open it, it'll run. So to edit, I'll do that one more time. To edit the batch file, you right-click on it and click Edit. Don't click Open because it'll try to run it. Click Edit, and then you'll be able to type into it. You can also change the .txt to a .bat after we do this. So what we're going to type in here is we're going to type in Java, and we're going to type in our memory arguments, so XMS, and I'm just going to give it 2 gigs of RAM, so 2048 megabytes, that's 2 gigabytes, and we're going to do the same thing for the max memory, so XMX 2048M, and then we need to tell it the type of file that it's going to open. That's going to be a jar file, because you can see right here that our paper file is called a jar file, running this file on this file. So we need to have this file name in here next. This is what screws everybody else up, is we tell it what type of file, and then we have to tell it the file. So we need the exact full file name that's here. It has to be exactly what that is, and then we would paste that here, and you could see that this right here matches the name of this file, the jar file up here exactly. Then put a space, no GUI, just so the native Minecraft GUI doesn't pop up. Use resources, and then I always like to put a pause. Some people argue you don't need to, but it just helps you read errors. So we're done with that. We can save it, and then we can X out of that, and then that's pretty much it. Click Start. We're going to let it run up. It's going to generate some files here, probably our EULA. We'll have to accept that and restart the server, and we should be all set. So I'm going to let it do its thing right now and create its files. Okay, so yeah, it did the thing. It created the end user license agreement. So we're just going to click enter. And you see how I typed my pause right there? If I didn't type that pause into the end of the batch file right here, let me just edit this and show you where that is. This pause, this window would be closed right now, and I wouldn't be able to read any of this. But because I put the pause here, I get to read the errors, I get to read all this, and then to close the window, all I have to do is hit enter. Well, while it's in focus, or any key. And, okay, we don't need that anymore. So if we come back to here, we get to go into our eula.txt. We're going to edit that, and we're going to change right here where it says false to true. And we're going to save that. And that's the last thing. We really should just be able to start this up now, and the software side of this is done. I'll prove it to you guys in a minute. I'll go on a client on a different computer and I'll join this. But yeah, that's all you have to do, except for this step right here. You do have to allow it through your firewall. So if you guys are on a private or public network, make sure you have this selected. If you don't know which one you have, just check both of them and click allow. So there we go. It's loaded up. We have our server. But yeah, that's the server. It's up. Now, obviously, this works like any other Minecraft server. If you port forward it and you give the person the right IP address, they'll be able to join. That's no problem. Port forwarding to this is exactly the same as port forwarding to any other Minecraft server. Now, to stop the server, type in stop. Don't click the X up here, because if you click the X up here, it's not going to save your players and your worlds, and you might end up losing some data. So click stop, and you'll see it's saving our players, saving our worlds, and it's done. We can click enter to exit out of that window. Now, some cool things that Paper gives us in here is we can see that we have something called paper.yml, We also have something called spigot.yml, and we also have bucket.yml. Now what these are settings, each generated by the different fork respectively, and they basically let you just change other settings on your server that wouldn't normally be able to be easily changed via the server.properties file. So for instance, let's open up the bucket.yml file, and we're going to click open with, because my computer doesn't know what a YML file is, so if you guys have the same issue, you'd click on more apps right here and then notepad and click OK. And here you go. It opens it up, and you can see these are our settings. We can turn off the end. We can set up a permissions file. We can set limits for our monsters on what they can spawn. This is chunk garbage collection, so we have some control over that. Autosave control and ticks per spawns control. So yeah, there's just different things we can control via the bucket file. So if we come down to the spigot file, we can see that there's also a bunch of stuff in here. If you guys want to know what all this stuff does, I'd recommend at least going and looking at the documentation for each one of these, and it explains exactly what each one of these settings does. Because I'm not going to go through every single one of them right now. But you can create restart scripts so that when the server crashes, it restarts. You can actually change the messages for when you join and get kicked for not being whitelisted, for the server being full, for when a command's not typed, for an outdated server or client, or even when the server restarts. You can turn off the advancements completely. This is really good for like tab completion. You can set up what gets tab completed, what commands can be used and stuff. And yeah, there's just tons of stuff in here that you can do. And the really good one, though, is when we get down to the paper.yml file, because if you edit this allows you to change a lot of different things that are going to help you fine-tune your server to not lag. So basically, you could set like async chunk loading, for instance, in here, which basically, if you guys don't know, Minecraft notoriously has had problems in the past for basically using only one thread to render, or not to render, to generate all of its chunks. And it's not just one thread, but most of the work is done in one thread, and that's been a problem in Minecraft for a very long time. So Paper created that setting right here, which you can change and allow multiple threads to actually generate your chunks, which can help drastically with servers with multiple people generating different areas at the same time. Watchdog will let you know if your server's lagging without it actually crashing. Spam limiter, there's book size stuff here, because if you guys had people, doing book exploits, you can actually patch the book exploit right here. And then timings, you can set up your timing settings. And dude, there's so many settings in here. Just look, world settings. I mean, you can go through baby zombie movement modifier, use vanilla scoreboard name coloring. Like, there's a million of these random settings in here that it just helps you customize your server. And I'd recommend that anybody that's using plugins would, instead of Spigot, use Paper. But it is just so much stuff you can set up. And like I said, I'm not going to go through all of it now. You can go on Paper's website and you can look at their documentation for all that, and it'll explain exactly what each one of those settings does. Okay, so now that you guys have the server basically set up, you know how to configure it. Now, the next thing that everyone's asking me is, how do I put plugins on the server? Now, you can see here that we have a plugins folder that we don't normally have in a normal Minecraft server. In here is where you would drag and drop the jar files for your plugins. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to go and grab LuckPerms. This is a very common permissions plugin. Maybe I'll do an overview of permissions in the future as well. If you guys want that, drop it in the description. So LuckPerms, we're going to download the jar file. It supports 1.17. You can see, if we go to the version history here, that's the version we're on, that's the version we got. So once that finishes downloading, we're going to drag it into here. And it's done. We're going to drag it right into there. So now, if we launch up our server, we'll minimize Chrome. we should see it load LuckPerms here for us. There we go, LuckPerms loading right here. So there we go. That's as easy. That's all it takes to put a plugin on a server. Now, after this finishes starting, I'm going to stop the server, and then I'm going to show you guys that each plugin usually comes with its own configuration files. Not always, because some don't require configurations, but we're going to stop the server now. So remember, the way you would do that is just by typing in stop and hitting enter. You don't want to click the X because you can lose data. Okay, so now it's done. We'll click enter to exit out of there. And if we go into the plugins folder where we just dragged LuckPerms, you can see that it created a LuckPerms folder. Almost every single plugin will work this way. It'll create a folder for that plugin, and inside that folder is going to be all the files that you're going to need for the plugin. So you can see here we have a config.yml file for LuckPerms. In here is where you can configure everything that comes with all your plugins. So if you guys got to change settings with any plugins, you'd go look at the documentation for, in this instance, LuckPerms, and it would tell you what all this stuff does, and you can go through and change it all and configure the server exactly how you want. And that's all it takes. And just to prove it, I'm going to join the server. So let me start it up. Now, this is going to be a big question that you guys all have too, is how do I join the server? There's 3 ways. If you're on the same PC that you're hosting the server from, like joining to the same computer, all you have to do is type a 0. If you haven't changed the default ports or anything, just type 0. If you change the port, you need to append the port on the end. You'll know what that means. If you haven't changed the port, just type 0. And that should take you into your own server hosted on the same computer. Now, that's not going to work in my case because this is actually a separate computer to where I'm going to be joining from. So in order to do that, basically, if you guys had the server hosted, let's say, on like a laptop in the other room, and you wanted to play from your desktop in your bedroom or something, now you're going to be on the same local network. No port forwarding is going to be required for that, but you're going to need to know the IP address of the server computer. So to do that, you need to open up a command prompt. So just search CMD, hit enter, it'll open up a command prompt, and you need to type the command ipconfig. That's going to print out your IPv4 address. Mine's 10.0.0.58. Okay? So that's the IP address of the server. Now we're going to hop onto our other computer, launch up Minecraft, and use that to join. Alright, we're here. We got Minecraft 1.17 loaded up. You can see it's a clean vanilla client on 1.17, latest release. We're going to go to multiplayer. Don't got to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to join. Now, remember, if you're on the same PC, type 0. It's not going to work in my case because I'm on a different PC, but if you are on the same PC, do that. It'll work. Now, if you change the port to anything other than 25565, you need to append the port. The way you would do that is like this. You put a colon and then the port number. 25565 is default. Let's say you had 2 servers running and you wanted the second one to be on 6.6. That's how you'd have to join, even if it's on the same computer. Because default, it's going to go to 25565. But that's not going to work for me because I'm not using the 0. In any type of IP address, you still have to append the port, though, if you change it. So in my case, mine's going to be 10.0.0.58. Remember, because that was the IPv4 address from the command prompt that we found on the server computer. So we're going to click Join Server. It should log in and should put us right on our paper server. Look at that. And we're on paper. So let's push, and you can see right up here on the top left, paper server on Minecraft Vanilla 1.17. So, yeah. Now remember, if you guys want to get people to join your server, you need to port forward. Now, in order to port forward, you're going to have to get into your router's admin panel and you're going to have to set up some settings. And I have an entire video explaining how to do that. I'm not going to do that right now because it's redundant. It's the same for every type of Minecraft server. If you guys are having trouble with that, please watch my other guides on it. I'll have them linked in the description, as well as some cards on the screen right now so that you guys can click that. But other than that, that's how to make a paper server, guys. As you can see, I'm on it right now. And yeah, we got plugins, and let's just op ourselves real quick and make sure that we have access to those LuckPerms plugins. So if we go back to the server computer, remember how you'd op yourself on your own Minecraft server. You'd type OP and then your username. So mine's OP Voizdev, made Voizdev a server operator. So let's go back down to the Minecraft client. Okay, so now that we're in the Minecraft client, you can see that I'm an operator. And if I do slash LuckPerms, look at all the LuckPerms. All the commands are here. So yeah, running LuckPerms version 5.3.47. So obviously it works. You have plugins on your server, and that's how to do it. So if you guys enjoyed this video at any point, or if it helped you guys in any way, be sure to leave a like down below and comment. And subscribe for future tutorials. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see next, be sure to also leave that in the comments section below. And I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.